Hello friends, my name is Ramasu. Today we shall discuss about topic web server. Friend, today's topic is very interesting, especially if you have interest in technology and you want to learn about it. So let's start, friend. First of all, I would request to please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell option as well so that my videos can reach to you, and also you can follow me on the Facebook page as well. Friend, web server. So that is, there are two words, web server. So that means a server which is related to web. Now what does it mean web? Basically web server is a server which is basically hosting the files for for websites and different sites. For example, this is the web browser. For example, you are using the laptop and you are requesting a web page. For example, you want to open gmail.com. So from the laptop, from the web browser, the request will goes through the internet to the web server, and from web server you will get the response back to the browser. So that is basically the purpose of the web server, that it has all the informations like files and all the required data related to the web page website, and the web server will provide information back to the web browser. Web server generally use the Hypertext Protocol Transfer Protocol (HTTP) and other protocols to respond to the client request. Here is the client is the web browser. Okay, like for example, you are usually you want to open a page of, for example, Facebook page.com. For example, you want to open the gmail.com. So here is the client is the web browser. The main job of a web server is to display website content through storing, processing, and delivering web pages to users. Except the besides the HTTP, it can also use the SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, and FTP, File Transfer Protocol as well. Web server hardware is connected to the internet and allows data to be exchanged with other connected devices, while web server software controls how a user accesses hosted files as well. Web server basically is a software which is accessed through the domain names of the websites and ensure that the delivery of the site content to the requesting user. Here you can see, for example, on the web server, there are two things. It contains a file and the HTTP server as well. So from the browser means the person which is using a browser on the laptop, like he request a file, he wants to open the gmail.com. So the request came here on the web server, which has a HTTP server and files as well, and the web server responds back the required files and request response back to the browser. The HTTP server is able to understand the basically URLs, and hardware is basically a web server is a computer that stores web server software and other files related to the web server website, such as HTML documents, images, JavaScript, etc. So basically two things are there on the web server. Files contains different images, the content, HTML document, images, JavaScript files, etc. Here these things are reside, and the HTTP server is a server which basically understand the HTTP request and the URLs. So all these things reside on a hardware that is called as the web server. Whenever we talk about web browser, we are basically talking about a different browser, like for example Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Firefox. So they need a file that hosted on a web server. The browser will request a file by HTTP. When the request is received by the web server, the HTTP server will accept the request, find the content, and send it back to the through the HTTP. Okay, so this is basically the concept here. HTTP server and the files are the HTML documents, JavaScript file, images, and the HTTP used to receive the HTTP request from the browser, get the file from the file location, and send it back to the browser. This is the flow here. Different examples of web servers are there, like for example, web servers used for sending and receiving emails, downloading requests for file transfer protocol FTP files, and building and publishing web pages as well. Many basic web servers will also support server-side scripting as well, which used to employ scripts on a web server that can customize the response to the client. Server-side scripting runs on the server machine and typically has a broad feature set, which includes the database access as well. Server-side scripting will also use for ASP, active server pages, hypertext preprocessor PHP, and other scripting languages as well. This process allows HTML documents to be created documents as dynamically as well. So, like for example, you can use the client-side scripting, like for example, the HTML, JavaScript, etc. You can use the server-side scripting like ASP, PHP to create the dynamic pages as well. So basically, the main purpose of a web server is to host the content for the website. Okay, and HTTP web, it has all the information, it has all the files related to images, JavaScripting files, HTML pages, etc. And HTTP server get those files from the file location, and after receiving the request from the web browser, it will send it back to the browser to the client as well. So this is basically the main flow in the web server. I hope you like this video. If you like it, please share it with your friends and colleagues. And thanks a lot for watching the video. Thank you, friends.